DLB Network, a place for gamers.
Welcome back to the final edition of the State of Next Gen Gaming. We left off talking about the PS2 and how it was still relevant and how it's still selling healthy, selling over 100,000 systems a month, which still to this day is very decent, especially for, a previous generation system. So, Sony's real big on that 10-year, should I say, goal, and they're reaching it. And they reached it with the PS1, and they're reaching it right now with the PS2. The PS2's in its 9th year, going on the 10th year, like they said, and I think it's going to actually surpass that 10-year mark. Because what we have to look at is the system still isn't at $99 yet. Once the system hits $99, that's when it's basically like, okay, we're almost close to extinction for this console. So here it is, $99, but it's still at $129 and selling very healthy at $129. So with that being said, in Sony's press conference, they still have to make room for the PS2. Although a lot of people felt that it shouldn't be there, I personally felt that it still should make a presence because it still is making a presence in the industry, and it shows in the NPD numbers monthly. So I felt that they needed to talk about it, but Sony wanted to start off with a bang, so they had to start showing some PS3 games, of course, because that's what's really relevant right now. So they had to start off with their Resistance 2, stuff like that. Then they kind of backtracked because they went back to the PS2 and had to talk about stuff like that, and then they came forward again. So I do admit their conference was all over the place. Was it all over the place for it to be number 3 behind Nintendo? Hell no. And I don't care what anybody says. Nothing about Nintendo's press conference was appealing to make it be second place. Sorry. It still kind of shows how biased our industry still is. But with that being said, though, Sony had I feel they had a decent showing. A lot of people, or I won't say a lot of people, but a few people were disappointed with the press conference because everybody was like, okay, well, Microsoft took Final Fantasy. Okay, Sony, you better come with something big. It's like, stick to your plan. If something like that happens, Sony what can they do? What do they? Please make it exclusive again. Here's some money. Here's an iPhone. Here, will that do? Like, you can't. You just have to keep on plan. Stay on plan. Stay on track. Does this hurt Sony? No, because Final Fantasy is still coming out on the PS3. So no, we're still getting the game. It's not like we're not getting the game. We're still getting the game. Now, had Microsoft said Final Fantasy is coming exclusively to the Xbox 360, then hell yes, that would have been a huge blow. And then I could have seen why people would start panicking. At the end of the day, the game is still coming out on the PlayStation 3. And it's still, to me personally, is exclusive in the market that it needs to be exclusive in anyway, which is Japan. So, with that being said, Sony had to stay on track. And what they showed, it's funny because a lot of people says, where's the game? Sony has no games. They never talk about games. The Xbox is all about games. But Microsoft's biggest announcement at their press conference was Netflix. I'm sorry, don't hit me. It was. We already know about Gears, Fable, Fallout 3's third-party multi-platform, Resistance third-party multi-platform. So between Final Fantasy and Netflix was their biggest announcement. And their their avatars. So, and that's a whole nother subject, but Sony announced MAG, which we see they showed the first in-game screenshot of it. It looked very nice. I still would like to see some video footage. We knew God of War was coming. We know about the titles coming out this year, but the thing about Sony's press conference is we also got a chance to see and hear about things that are coming out next year as well. Like, we knew Killzone's coming out next year, but now we know that God of War is supposed to come out next year. We know Zebra Interactive is developing a game titled MAG, Massive Action Game. I hate that title. But anyways, that's supposed to be coming out next year. You have the Infamous, which is supposed to be coming out next year. Also along with some other games that we haven't heard about yet or that I could be forgetting. So we got a taste of what's coming this year in Resistance, and then their beautiful presentation with Little Big Planet doing their their quarterly numbers and stuff like that. That was brilliantly done. Kudos to the guys over at Media Molecule for that. So we got to see Little Big Planet, Resistance, and we've seen games that are coming this year. A few surprise titles even. I think a lot of people would agree that Fat Princess was definitely a surprise, a shocker, because that shocked the hell out of me. So that game looks like that's going to be fun. 32 players online, but the only complaint that I have about that game, and I heard this in an interview, and they said if the community asks us for it, we'll deliver on it. So please head over to Sony's forums, look for Fat Princess, and complain. The title will not have, and this is really pitiful. This is where it's like, Sony, what the f is going on? The game will not have voice chat in the game. It will not support voice communication feature in the game. Text feature, yes, little quick text. They'll support that, but no voice communicate. Head over to the forums, boards.playstation.com. Look for the go to games and look for Fat Princess. Go in there and complain, spam the hell out of it, saying we want voice chat. Because in the interview, he said, if the community comes to us and asks for it, we'll put it in there. But honestly, it's an online title. Why wouldn't people want a feature like this? This should be. It's like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the bread. Like, come on. This stuff should be a standard. Why is this not standardized yet? Like, that's one of the only complaints I'd have to say about that title, and sometimes about Sony overall, is like this should be in every single game. No excuse. Even if the game sucked, if it's the weakest game in the world, it still should have that feature in it. Every game should have voice communication in it, no matter what. So with that being said, we're familiar with what Sony's delivering this year, but we also know what's coming next year. So 2009 could be as big, if not bigger, than 2008. So once again, Microsoft, I would like to see like something that's coming from them next year. And I mean, if you look at the previous E3, the year before last E3, they didn't announce anything that was coming out next year at that E3. And look at the lineup as far as exclusives go. Look at the lineup that they have this year as far as exclusives compared to their competitors. Wasn't that impressive? So them not announcing any games for next year, is that any kind of indication of 2009 having a disappointing exclusive lineup like it did this year? I mean, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That Bungie, Bungie's supposed to be coming out with the game, or announcing a game that didn't make it in the press conference. Is that coming next year? Like Nintendo, we don't know too much from them. I'm pretty sure they're going to have games using a balance board or come out with another big peripheral. I mean, we still have TGS. I don't expect Microsoft to make any big announcements there, because the place that Microsoft wanted to do it is here in America. We still got Leipzig. Maybe we can hear something there from Nintendo. Or excuse me. And then we have TGS. And I mean, maybe that's where Nintendo held. Maybe that's why they held back on their E3, and that's where they're going to let out all their can of worms. Maybe that's where it's going to be at. And maybe Sony even has more stuff up their sleeve that they plan on showing at TGS, which is a Tokyo Game Show for any of you guys who may not know. So we don't know. I mean, we have to wait and see. But as far as that goes, my summary of next gen gaming, this topic, is the state of gaming is, like I said, we're all winners. If you want to go out and get a 360, get one. Play the games that the 360 has to offer. You want a PS3? Get one. Play the games it has to offer. You want a Wii? I mean, we're not losing. They are. They have to win us over. So at the end of the day, that makes us, sit back, kick up your feet. So All this fanboyishness, just bring it down. Let's just have fun and play games. Check out the blog, dlb-network.com. Peace.